today we are going to be talking about the theory that Michael is on death row for Halloween Ends. Some of you may think that this sounds a little bit familiar, or you feel like you've heard of Michael on death row before. You probably have, as there is a script for a film that never got made called Halloween Returns, where Michael is on death row and there's a whole scene with him escaping it, and in my opinion I always found it pretty cool. So let's give a little overview here on what the general basis of this theory is. So for Ends, this would mean that Michael would have been captured, and so he's on death row basically just waiting to die, possibly at Glass Hill, which is where he was going to go, for those who don't remember, in 2018. Obviously, he was getting transferred. That's where he was going, Glass Hill. But then, obviously, the bus crashed, and, well, 2 movies later, here we are. So going back to Halloween Returns, this unmade film, when I first read it, I actually really liked the idea of the scene. I thought it was extremely violent and really cool. It almost reminded me of the Halloween 6 hospital scene where obviously he absolutely massacred all them doctors. So yeah, let's say that Michael is captured on the night of Halloween Kills. He's taken to death row. Then to me, we have one of 2 options. We have Michael breaking out himself, which is what happens in Halloween Returns. Or we have this idea that's been going around that maybe it's Laurie/Allison that go and hunt Michael this time. So if it were how it was in the Halloween Returns script, obviously replacing some characters with Laurie and Allison, Hawkins is probably going to be there. It's probably going to be a lot of people there. I imagine that Lindsay's going to be there. Let's say it's the day of Michael's execution. In the Halloween Returns script, they make a really good point of not showing Michael's face, which is perfect. So obviously this type of scene is a moment where we could really just end up seeing Michael's entire face, which we don't want to see that, or at least I don't anyway. So I believe on the Halloween Returns script, they've already injected him 2 times. I think it's 3 injections total that you get when you're having the lethal injection. So he's had the first 2, and I think one of them almost drains you and makes you a little bit drowsy, while then the other one I think is what fucks with your adrenaline levels, so that spikes. And in the Halloween Returns script, Michael basically sees the, I don't know whether her name was Sophie, I could be wrong, sorry if I'm wrong, I'm sure it started with an S anyway, but he sees this girl and she looks familiar to him, and this sends him into a fit of rage where he breaks out. So, associating that to the Halloween Ends script, maybe Michael could see Allison, Laurie, or Lindsay, and this just causes him to go fucking ballistic. I think this scene in general, away from which movie it's related to, I would just love to see this scene in a Halloween film. However, is it best for the Ends storyline? I don't know. So some things I like about this theory is if it's done right and we don't see his face so much, we could have some really cool scenes. As I said, it's really similar in my opinion, or it could go very similarly to the Halloween 6 medical scene, where obviously the people are in there injecting him, he breaks out, massacres them maybe in front of this big glass screen that Laurie and Allison are all watching him from. Another thing I like about this is it gives Laurie and Michael, and I'm going to just mainly talk about Laurie and Michael for this, but by this I mean everyone that was involved, but it gives everyone a reason to be back together again. And I'm not entirely sure, but there is definitely an argument to say that it may be a likely thing that they would then execute him on Halloween, because that's the night that he's committed all these horrible crimes, so that's the night that he should die too. I think part of me thinks it's a little bit cringy, however it does kind of make things line up for, obviously it's Halloween night, Michael's ready to kill, Laurie's right there for the taking for him. But I don't completely like this theory. Some things that I'm not really too keen on is this means that Michael's caught again, which, as I've said in previous videos, I'm not a massive fan of how they may explain where Michael's been. I do think my opinion has actually changed slightly since the videos I've made, in that I almost now am kind of hoping we don't really get much of an explanation. Because yeah, the idea of Michael being caught, especially with how he was after Halloween Kills. I had a comment on one of my previous videos which made some great points, but it said things along the line of, which police officer is going to want to go up to him when they see what he's done? Who's going to put the handcuffs on him? And why the fuck would Michael remain that calm to allow himself to be taken away? But obviously, that is unless there is them elements of, he's connected to Halloween night only. He did his killing. He doesn't care now, quite similar to how it was in the flashback scene of 78. So yeah, I don't necessarily think it's the best way they could go. And as well, they could really fuck it up and I think show a little bit too much of not a casual Michael, but an unmasked Michael. And yeah, that's just another theory going about in Ends. I'm really enjoying doing these theory videos at the moment. Obviously, every time I see a new one that I enjoy talking about or have some opinions on, I'm going to try and make a video on it as soon as I can. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think to this theory. Do you think it's a big possibility? Do you think maybe there's a different way that they could do it? Or do you think it's just stupid and they shouldn't? I'm very on the fence about it because I think I just really like the idea of the scene that they had for Halloween Returns. So yeah, let me know in the comments and I will see you guys in the next